got another wacky game here. Sort of a rare find, made after a popular television show that no one will probably know because this is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Alright, so let's just get right into it. This is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. It's a fighting game. And it's a lot of content here. We got the training mode, the versus mode, and the arcade mode. But it goes further than that. This game comes with 2 games in one. Although most of the time you're going to just pick one game over the other because one game just has more characters and more selections. You have the challenge mode and the story mode. The challenge mode is pretty interesting because you fight your way up the ranks like normal, but when you lose, when you win, I should say, you get to increase your health or your actual power meter. You have over 15 characters. You can even play the villain of the TV show itself. Your normal mode and your easy mode will make everything easier to fight with if you're used to Marvel vs. Capcom. Easy mode's really for beginners of the series. If you want more combos and you're really more familiar with the game, you better go to normal mode. So as it starts off, each character is very different. It's a very great looking game. It has aged a bit because the sprites themselves are kind of, a little pixelated, but the game itself is just fantastic. You have characters who have these special abilities. They're called stands. These are kind of like ghost-looking type animal-like things that will pop out. It doesn't even need to be an actual person to pop out. It could be anything. It could be like someone who just has a stand that's a gun, to someone who has a stand that's a sword, and as my character right here has, he has a actual stand that's like almost a human being. You can go to the start screen. You can also check through your list of attacks, and if you want to figure out more about the game and how it works. Right now we can't use vibration because we're using the Dreamcast controller for the original system. Let's just get back into it. On the top you have your health meter, of course, and this stand your power meter on the bottom. I'm trying to get mine up a little bit. You get it up by getting attacked or attacking yourself. A little character right here is a little genie type woman who can make a ton of different little abilities. Characters come with several different moves. My character himself can even stop time itself and attack you several times in a repeated pattern if he needs to. So now that I won, I can pick to up my power meter or lower my up my actual special ability meter. We're gonna go with upping your health because I think it comes more in handy at this point. As you see, this guy has a stand that he can get a far distance away from himself. Some people are able to only hold their stand right on their body. Others can move away from themselves a little bit, like I just did. It depends on the character really and how well you can handle using that character itself. If your stand gets hurt, you will also get damaged too. As you see on the side, his puppet stand, it's on the ground. He needs to get that back up or he's really going to lose. And my strategy right now is to keep him away from it. So there's a lot of strategy involved in this game, even though it seems a little simple and it's not a Marvel vs. Capcom type game, but it is very fun and it's nice to pick up and play. It has really good pick up and play gameplay. As you can see here, there's another stand that this guy has. It's very similar to mine. He's the main character of the actual series, as you will. He's a couple of his own specials. I just wanted to show you that. His own little pose. It looks kind of corny, but I like it. He points at me while I'm on the ground. You get judged on how well you did after that. So like I said, here's what separates this game. It actually does come with the Bizarre Adventure and his own venture. I think he needs to validate the fact that the game it used to be a little pricey, not anymore. Anyway, this is where the meat of the game is, the story mode. This is what separates it to me from a normal little fighter. You pick your character. Let's just pick this guy. I like him. I enjoy his specials. And as you play through the game, you actually do feel like you're really playing your own story. Not like you just one at a time like other games. They actually have a great story going along with the game itself. So you can read through all that, and they'll show you little pictures and information of why you're fighting, and it's really engaging. And you also, each character has a different story, or at least a part of someone else's story. They have these little cutscenes in their little badly digitalized art at this point. But this looked very good back in the day, and it was an interesting take on the game. And I'm really surprised they put so much effort into a game where it was just a offshoot of a cartoon show. You even get a little map that you actually know where you're going along with the storyline itself. So my stand here his stand is inside of his sword, his little bamboo-looking item here. He actually slices and dices his surroundings itself. That's one of my favorite specials there. There's another person's special over here. They all have great-looking specials and abilities themselves, and everything's so unique and interesting in the game. And another thing I like is that you don't just, whenever you lose a round, you keep going. You don't go to the start screen or anything like that. You don't. The match just keeps going. It doesn't slow down. Get right down, back to it. Uh-oh, I missed. That's another one of his specials. A nice close-range character here we got, but now most of the characters are on their little journey trying to go after the main bad guy for some reason or another. I don't want to spoil the storyline because it is actually a cartoon show, so some people might be watching it and not want to have anything spoiled at this moment. But every character, you know, will have these little fancy specials that you can use in different ways, in the air, on the ground. Several ways not to use it, of course. Some are better at range, some are better with distance, some are stronger. The usual affair for a fighting game, but with a little twist. Most of the time, if you have your stand out like this guy does, it will damage you a lot. So you want to sometimes just keep him off. Even if it's going to help you be aggressive when you're fighting, you don't have to have it always out. There are some issues I gotta say, though, about the game. The graphics are just really dated these days at this point. After, you know, being spoiled with Marvel vs. Capcom and all those other games, you can't help but notice that this game kind of needs a little HD improvement, if you will, wink wink. If anyone wants to sign the petitions that are all over the place for these type of games. So like I said, this game is really weird, so it's not just going to be always what you expect. Along your journey, you're going to find characters in the story mode, and they'll be coming with you, and they'll help you through specific sections of the game. And guess what? You're not just going to find humans. Yeah, this game has you fighting dogs. Birds versus dogs. This is where this game takes itself. Not too seriously, but also serious at the same time. It's hard to tell. But don't think just because you're fighting dogs in their little stand spirits, it's going to be an easy game. This game can be difficult, even on the easier settings. I don't know if it's really that embarrassing or not, but losing to an actual bird in a fight, it seems like I would be really embarrassed at that point. Especially if I have all these little powers and stuff. Anyway, as you see a little meter on the top of a character, some characters don't have it, the blue meter near their names, their faces and everything. That's your stand, how long your stand can stand out. After it takes a little bit of damage, it'll leave for a while. Some people get it back quicker, some people don't. You're very vulnerable when your stand is gone, so most of the time people want to get that back as quick as possible. Alright, let's talk about the music a little bit too. As you can see, it's pretty decent. I'm not sure if it goes with the actual music from the show, because I haven't really watched the show, but for what it is, it has a decent soundtrack. It's nothing amazing, but it fits the mood of the game itself. It feels kind of old, kind of some of the, the quality of the music is kind of old, but it's an old game, and it shows, but in a good way. It makes it feel like a classic. Let's go even further and just look at the backgrounds of the game itself. It looks fantastic. I just gotta say, there's nothing I really dislike too much about this game, because it doesn't take itself too seriously, and it's a great, time waster, I would say. And if you really want to get good at the game, you can. Characters are always wacky looking. Look at this guy himself. His stand is a shadow. It's just really interesting. I mean, what other game actually lets you target your gun on the screen instead of just shooting? You actually target. You actually move the little reticule after you take your gun out and shoot your character. That's how just how different this game is, and I really think people should give it a chance. Yeah, sometimes the backgrounds aren't the most amazing. They look great for what it's worth. Maybe a few more characters in the background. Maybe some people from the show once in a while just popping in. Nowadays they would even attack you, but the game is worth a try. A lot of the moves can be telegraphed before they're done, and it helps really, people who are used to the game to stop people who are just spammers like I just did from continuing to spam and just use the same move over and over again, because each move can be telegraphed very far ahead. Now here's the map. As you progress through the game, you go all around and figure out where to go. Just so I don't forget, I'll go over JoJo's Venture a little bit. If you like less characters, the usual, prior sequel, then this is your best place to come. It's really a similar game, it's just a lot less characters to play with. And it's the same, same feel and look of the other game, if you haven't noticed. But just, just make sure you guys got a feel of it. I'm going to show it to you. So one thing I must mention before I end the review, you got to be careful. One thing, this game doesn't follow this normal pattern. If you quit to continue, it'll start you all the way over if you change your character. So that's just a little nitpick of mine. I've hated that in old games, and it just brings me to tears when you have to play through a game with the character you don't like. And look at these bunch of goons. They distract me. These goons, little goon squad here, purple outfit, Broly old man, and two other guys that don't look like they fit in. That looks like the ragtag team. They sense something. It's just funny how the animations go in this game. Besides that, like I said, that's a little nitpick of mine, but I don't think it's going to affect anyone else. And with that, the review sell.webs.com, as always. Donate for sexual research, and I hope you enjoyed watching some of the old school gameplay from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Stay tuned for some more, and have a good day. This guy's not falling for any of my traps. Yes, she just did that. She actually just showed her tits to defeat her enemy. That's one for feminism. Anyway, of course, a must-buy, or at least try out, because at this point, I don't think you can even find this game. But the gameplay doesn't lie. It's a great, fun game to play with your friends, and I think you should try it out. If you have the Dreamcast and you have a chance to get this game, do that as soon as you can. It's nice, different. It's not no Marvel versus Capcom, but it's very, very close, and it has a good feel to it.